Good afternoon, everybody. We already have some audience here. Hi, Cyrilla and Di. Welcome to our Bonding with Beth time. And today our guest is Reverend Stephanie Wild. And, she has a lot of wild experiences, I guess, too, right? From Australia.
Yes, that's right. That's exactly right.
Backpacking wherever, all over the world. She's actually a lawyer as well. And
I am. I don't practice. I don't practice.
Okay.
I have a law degree and I'm licensed to practice in New York State.
Okay.
But I just use it. I just use it as a defense mechanism. it's great. Yeah, and with friends, it's a great way of thinking. It's a great way of. It's very helpful that way. Yeah.
Yeah, we can always use that.
Exactly.
Exactly. So anyway, Stephanie is an intuitive life coach as well, and really she has an amazing 2 books. And I was just reading the review, and I'm like, man, I said I really have to focus on. Have so many books to read, Stephanie. It's like every night I'm trying to which one to prioritize. So here's one of the reviews that I read.
Oh, great.
How do you follow up a debut book on forgiveness with, of course, a book about sex? Well, not just sex and not just love, dating, communication, chakras. And what are we all missing when we talk about what we talk about when we talk about love? But all that is fantastic. So anyway, honestly, I anticipate not cringing all that word ever again, thanks to the Wild Reverend's 2nd book. In fact, I explicitly recommend The Art of Romance to anyone who hates that term. If ever there was nothing to lose, all to again, read this. Plus, I'm a geek for the. He talks about a podcast forthcoming.
Right, and yes, I do have a podcast that will launch soon. Yep, it's called Miracles in Manhattan.
I know.
I'll be leading people through A Course in Miracles because so many people want
need
to
miracles,
but don't. Yeah,
they need miracles. So let me just welcome some of our guests here. Cyrilla and Di, thank you so much. Kieran Doan and Claire Davis, thank you so much for watching right now. Okay, so I'll give it to you, Reverend Wild. Tell me, why did you write this book? I know we all need miracles, especially about your first book, which is Forgiveness. I touched a little bit about that, actually. I mean, for those of you who don't know me, by the way, my name is Belle Grand. I wrote a book about, family matters. It has something about forgiveness also for stuff that happens in the family when it comes to family money issues. But today, I really want to focus on Reverend Stephanie Wild because she has a lot to share. And so, Stephanie, I'm going to let you go ahead and take it away.
Okay, sure. Well, we have a lot in common, though, with that. So we will talk about forgiveness in the family system. So you can see here my books here. So we have The Art of Forgiveness. That was the first one. And The Art of Romance. That was the second one. And the way it's a natural progression because first we need to forgive. Now, my definition of forgiveness is living free from anger and resentment. Right? So it's a spiritual process. Now, once you have dealt with that, or mostly, because I think it's a lifelong practice.
Your practice.
But once we've dealt with, the big stuff that's holding us back, women especially, but men too. But this book is really for women. We can move on to creating the romantic life of our dreams. Because if we're dragging anger and resentment into romantic relationships, it's going to make us unhappy. And we're always going to be disappointed and frustrated, whether we're married already for 20 years, whether we're just dating around, whether we're looking for a partner, or whether we just want to, enjoy sort of socializing with people. If we're dragging resentment towards men or anger for how we've been treated in the past, we're never going to see the person in front of us for who they really are. We're going to be projecting all that past onto them. And so that's why I wrote the books. The first one, The Art of Forgiveness, was a result of my having gone through a lot of abuse in my family system, a very, very dysfunctional family system. And I was, well, most people do. And I mean, most people do, like to one degree or another. And I think that's why we're on Earth. We come to Earth to have these dysfunctional relationships so we can grow through them. So I did that, and it took me basically, I think, 40 years. And so I wrote the book so other people didn't have to take that long, right? So if you follow what's in this book, and if you want my help, I can help you do it. You can get free very, very quickly. It's very intense. I work intensely. I've always loved those weekend intensive as opposed to the the year-long courses. But so my books, it's like a handbook. It's like a handbook for forgiveness. Yeah. So in my family, I'm still blamed. I'm still blamed for tearing the family apart. Now, how I can do that from New York City when they're in Australia, I don't know. But families, they have their stories.
I know. I guess you probably could have titled it "Family Matters" too.
Yeah.
Like there's 1-0 or something, Well, let me just thank you again. You can send us some hearts. We need the hearts on our forgiveness topic here, but there's also romance topic. By the way, it's interesting because one of my intuitive life coaches, when I had this bill that for whatever reason the insurance will not pay, even though I had insurance, etc., and she actually, the interesting thing is, she said, you have some anger and resentment that you need to let go, and that's going to be taken care of. I said, really? That's like weird to me. And boy, I mean, I know you know what it's all about. And it's true. A month after I did work on myself, insurance paid. The lady, the human resources even apologized to me that it took them almost 2 years to take care of it. I had like 16 letters. Yes. So anyway, go ahead. And, I just want to let them know that there is really something. This is not woo-woo we're talking about here. There is really something about letting go. Okay.
Oh, yeah. And you're absolutely right. I mean, it sounds like you were just living with it without even really knowing. And,
yes.
And that can happen. We get so used to it. It's just our normal state of being. We're just used to having a headache, or for me, it's like here in the back of my neck. When I know it really, I'm like, oh, okay, what's going on here? Because it gets into our bodies. It gets into everything we do in our lives all day. So I do lay out a daily practice. Like whenever we start to feel that, oh my God, I'm on with customer service, we can use it, or something like what you were talking about. We can use this little process that I have. It's 3 steps. But so yeah, my spiritual path is forgiveness. I believe that forgiveness is the path to enlightenment, because it brings us to serenity, to acceptance. Then we can love without condition. We can love people who seem to be hurting us, the customer service who's not giving us what we want, our kids driving us crazy, our mother-in-law, our brothers who just push our buttons. We can deal with all of that with serenity and be more effective and make ourselves happy.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I just want to acknowledge, hi, Christy Hayden. Thank you so much for listening, Christy. She's going to be one of the guests here. I've got to invite her. She's too busy, though. I think she's going to be in opera. Anyway.
Busy? No. We know you. Stop being busy.
I know. So, the only thing, though, is I noticed that, even with my work as well, I've noticed that people always tell me, oh, I've forgiven, but, for example, they have ex-husbands or whatever, but I could see it in the face. And I remembered Martha Beck, said something like, oh, you're just really putting a bandage, and really and truly you haven't really gone deep. And I think that's the reason really why I also do Facebook Lives and we really invite guests, because I really want to bring it to my audience and to your audience. There is really, forgiveness is really important. So, okay, continue. Go ahead.
So sure, yeah, and let's yeah, that brings to mind the misunderstanding that a lot of people have about forgiveness, that it means letting someone off the hook, letting them get away with it, or broadcasting to the world that, oh, it's okay, they did that to me. That's not what forgiveness is. And I think that's what happens when she's Martha Beck said, you're just putting a band-aid on it, or you're just putting a bandage on it, is really you're just trying to forget. You're just trying to forget it, trying to push it down, but it doesn't go away. And so the thing is, forgiveness does not mean letting anyone off the hook. I firmly believe, I know through my spiritual experience, my spiritual practice, my spiritual growth, that no one gets away with anything. It's the law of cause and effect. It's just physics. You put something out there, you put energy and mass, matter and energy, they're the same thing. If you put something out there, it is going to have an effect. And so if you're doing mean, if you're doing anger, if you're doing manipulation, it will come back to you at some point. So I am not responsible for punishing or whatever my father who abused me, or my sister who betrayed me, or my family system. The universe, spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, will take care of it, and there's no way out of it. There's just no way out of it. So we don't have to worry about that. They're going to literally get theirs. Now we could choose to, do some things in this realm, like take them to court to get the money they owe us or whatever. That's different. That's human justice. That's nothing to do with spiritual forgiveness. That's a completely different thing. You can do that if you want, but what I've noticed is that doesn't make you feel completely at peace. It might help a little bit, but that just has a little bit to do with the spiritual freedom, not a lot. It's really a spiritual process. So yeah, we can move on to romance. I know you want to talk about the romance.
Yeah, let me just acknowledge Rhonda. Hi, Rhonda. Thank you for listening. You're right, Rhonda. I mean, that really was a good explanation about forgiveness. And just like I said, it's a lot of people say they've forgiven, but they really don't go deep, right?
Right, because they're just like, I'm ignoring it. I'm over it. I'm over it. And it's like,
You're right. I mean, I really think that that's important. So, well, this is the show in a way, because, like I said, my purpose is really, I just want to disseminate information that are positive. We need a lot of positivity in the world. That is my thing. Before, I used to get scared doing Facebook Live. Now I'm having fun and I'm enjoying it. So, what compelled you to really write the first book?
The first one. Well, that was my recovery from my own abusive family system, my dysfunctional family system. I went to a lot of therapy. I'm very smart, right? I got a law degree. I did all that. I came to the United States. I successfully immigrated here, but then I had 2 divorces. And I thought, what's going on here? Like, I'm so smart, and I'm in therapy, and I know I had, this and that in the past. I'm working on it. Why can't I have good relationships? And so the last frontier, I suppose you could say, was spirituality. I was like, okay, because I can't trust myself to love the right people. I can't be loving and friendly and happy and generous, and I was so defensive. Everything was broken in that way. So I went to a class to enhance my intuition. I thought maybe I can just trust myself a little more, and one thing led to another, and that was the final piece I needed, that spiritual process of forgiveness. After I'd processed everything analytically, and I needed that final piece, and that was just the key. And then I looked back and I said, wow, I'm free. I feel peaceful. I feel happy. I'm not blaming my family for my unhappiness anymore. Like what happened? And so I wrote down what I did.
That's so
everyone has to know this. They can do it quicker.
Yeah.
They don't have to go through all this hell,
That's interesting because that's more or less similar to mine. Like, for example, mine is like, you're sending money, blah, blah, blah. And then I said, wow, it turned out that part of the problem and part of the solution is really within me. I'm like, why? So I can share this to the world. So that's exactly what happened. And that was really a great explanation what you're talking about. I want to acknowledge Rhonda, Janet. Oh, Janet Sellers. Ellis, how are you, Janet? And our mentor, Angela. How are you? Thank you, Angela, for listening. Yeah, and Christy is still here and some other friends. So anyway, now I want to ask. Yes, I want to ask you though. How about let's go? Are you pretty much done with a little bit of explaining the forgiveness part?
Yeah.
Let's go to the romance. I'm excited about this Miracles in Manhattan. I'm going to New York next week, so I'm like, I actually tagged a few people that hopefully can use your services, because I really think that the more we disseminate great information, the better the world will be, right?
Oh, absolutely. I call it raising the happiness quotient of the planet.
Yeah,
it's like ripples in a pot. It's infinite. We can go infinitely higher. If we're all happier, and we're all, it's infinite. Yeah.
Yes. So, go ahead and let us.
So the Miracles in Manhattan. So as I was talking about this book to various people, or people were reading it, people would ask me, have you done A Course in Miracles? And I said, well, no, I haven't. And but people kept mentioning it to me. And so I thought, well, I better investigate this. And of course I'd heard of it. Most people have, in that way, that vague way. And it's something that people mean to do. And I read it, most of it, not all of it, but I discovered that it really does rely on forgiveness as the way to have a miracle in your life. And the miracle is right-mindedness. The miracle is seeing truth as it really is, as opposed to all our stuff that we project onto people, all our anger, resentment, hopes, desires, all that stuff that's just in our mind. The Course in Miracles is a set of exercises that helps us see in this new way. So it helps us to see the truth of things, as opposed to through all our filters of nonsense. Because so many people were saying, oh, I mean to do it. I kind of want to do it. And because one of the things that stopped people from completing it was that it has a lot of Christian terminology. So I decided to lead people through it without all that Christian terminology, and with a more universally understood, neutral vocabulary of spirituality that most of us kind of talk with now. No matter what religion, I know you and I are different religions, and also my co-host is a different religion from both of us, but we can all talk because we kind of start to have a similar universal vocabulary. And so that's what I'm doing, simplifying it and taking people through it, and also applying it to like everyday, really practical stuff like dating, sex, just living in Manhattan, day to day, like dealing with people at the post office or your landlord or your, all of that really, really practical stuff. So that's why it's called Miracles, A Course in Miracles in Manhattan. Because it's like get down to the real nitty gritty.
Yes. Wow. And it's fascinating that you mentioned that, because that's one of the things that I also, when I had converted, I was a Catholic and I converted to Judaism, I find that I also just really want to go for, like universality, loving each other, caring for each other. Because the root to me, really the basic really to me is loving each other.
Exactly.
And forgiveness is one of those. And
Yes.
I think I read it somewhere in your book that basic forgiveness is our path to enlightenment.
I
And
firmly believe that. Yeah.
that in so many ways. I mean, but it's not easy to do that,
No, it's not easy.
It's probably the hardest, for
Yeah,
most
we have
people.
to practice. And that's what,
Yes.
and A Course in Miracles gives us the exercises, one a day to practice.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, to really dissolve those limiting beliefs or those illusions of the ego that we live
Yes.
under. But yeah, I totally agree with you. You know, you can choose a religion, and you've chosen literally Judaism. I literally chose spiritualism. I'm a spiritualist minister and psychic medium, as you know. And my producer and co-host Marco Maisto, he chose Buddhism. But and so we each have the rituals, we each have the community of those religions, we each have, the books and the stories, but underpinning it, it's all love thy neighbor.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And so that's what I'll be doing with the Course in Miracles. I'm very excited. It's going to launch soon. Episode 0, hopefully just maybe this weekend. Yeah, we're gonna launch episode 0, and it's a talk. It's us talking about the whole concept of it and introducing people to it. So if people jump in at episode 100, they'll be like, what is going on? They can go to 0 and understand the whole context of it. So we're gonna have that permanently available. And then,
do you know what day would that be? Or
I don't want to say a day because we keep saying it, and then our hard drive crashed and we had to start all over again. So, but we're hoping like a few days, like literally just a few days. So
sure, yeah. I mean, tag me if
I will,
because I know of people that I really wanna know about your work.
Yeah, it's going to be great, and we have a Facebook community. I'll give you the link to that group. And whatever stage people are at, they can jump in at that lesson. Because it's a 365 lessons, so you can jump in any point and you can talk to people who are at that same lesson. So I'm really excited about it.
Yeah. So, what are the 3 most important messages that you would like to share with your audience? Or like a takeaway, from.
Yeah, sure. Well, we didn't even get into the romance bit. We didn't even get into the romance bit, but I'll include it here. So, yes. So when it all comes down to it, I want people to know that it is possible to live without the fear of a broken heart.
Mm-hmm.
You can truly do that. And obviously that applies to romance, and that's what the Art of Romance, that second book, is about. But a broken heart, of course, also applies to your family. I mean, my heart was so broken. My father betrayed me, my sisters, and I know that you work with people who feel that way too, used, abused. And I want people to know that you can live without fear of a broken heart. You can recover from a broken heart and go on to trust again, love again. And once we have that, and that's forgiveness, by using forgiveness. Mm-hmm. And once we have that, we're free to enjoy life completely. We're no longer protecting ourselves because we're not afraid of getting hurt, because we know that we can process it. We know that it's not going to kill us. We know that it's just part of life. We can take the pain without too much suffering. So I want people to know that it's completely possible to love fully and freely without fear.
That's really good, because like you said, that is something that it's a big challenge to a lot of people, and like you said, could be ego also is in the way. That's one of the reasons why we cannot forgive. I mean, I did my own internal work, and as you know,
yes.
And so, yeah. Now, what's the other second important message you'd like to share with our audience?
The second important message I want to share, and it's one of the principles of spiritualism, is that we are responsible for our own happiness or unhappiness, according to how we follow the laws of the universe. there are spiritual laws of the universe. One of them we keep bringing up is, the golden rule: do unto others. And that's it. We are responsible, and we are in control of it. So no more blaming anyone else. It's not easy, but that's the truth. We are responsible, and we are in control of our own happiness and unhappiness.
It's like the buck stops with us, not
Yeah.
other people, right? It's
Yeah.
interesting because I applied to write my book with our author incubator with Angela Loria. But by the way, shout out to the author incubator, Angela Loria. She's really helped so many people bring their messages out to the world. So if you guys have a book that you really just want to write and share to the world, you cannot share it if you don't write it. Please go to www.theauthorincubator.com and apply. And I remembered when I said, well, I have this second book. I wanted to put together like universal laws of morality and blah, blah, blah. And then she was able to really guide me and said, I can help you with that. We're going to do this. How about this situation, in the Philippines that's common, And I said, wow, it really made a difference, in your mentor, of course, that can guide you. But on the other hand, it is, like you said, the work really came from years of working on myself. And, the forgiveness took me a while, really. And then I think part of it is because we reason out that I was right. I did this. Why did they have to do it? Why,
Oh my God, I am right. I'm still right. I'm right. I'm right. It wasn't my fault. I'm right. I mean, but so what? Are you happy? Oh my God. But it doesn't mean admitting that you're wrong. It doesn't mean letting them off the hook. You can be right and happy.
And I love that. I love this. It's like you can be right and also not letting them off the hook.
Yes.
I have a great relationship with my family now. They come and visit me and help me with putting my office together. So anyway, what's our third big message here?
Well, you touched on it exactly. The third message is you can't do it alone. You cannot reach where you are to enlightenment or where you are to growth or where you are. You can't do it alone. We are all one. We are all connected. Our consciousnesses are connected. We are here on earth to have relationships and learn from one another. We are each other's spiritual teachers. We are equals, but we are different, and that's how we learn from each other. And so you really can't do it alone. We're responsible. We have to do our work to make ourselves happy, but we also need others, and we need to connect and jump into this love puddle. You can't do it alone. And so find a coach, find a mentor, trusted friends, your church community, synagogue, whatever it is. But you must open yourselves to the help of others who've been through it, who you trust, who you feel will do right by you, and who love you. Whomever it is, we can't do it alone. It's very dangerous for us to think that we're an island. No man is an island. Someone famous said that. So
that's right. Yeah, you're right. Because also, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because in Kabbalah, which is the esoteric part of Judaism,
right,
they do emphasize that we're all interconnected. We really are all interconnected, and whatever one does, it affects, and this karma, etc., from different souls, generations, that affects us. Right. So anyway, I know that your book are now bestsellers on Amazon, but are you able to give our audience some free PDF copy, or I'm not sure?
Yes, I don't want to. Absolutely. If you go to my website, reverendwild.com, you can find everything there. You can get free copies of my book. You can connect to the Facebook group for A Course in Miracles. You can sign up for a psychic reading, intuitive counseling session with me. You can email me from there. That's the headquarters. But obviously, you can also just write a comment on this feed, and I'll find you and I'll contact you and we can connect. But reverendwild.com, you can find everything there. Yeah, you can get a copy of each of the books. And yeah, you can contact me and talk to me, ask me questions. I love hearing from readers. I love hearing how people are experiencing the books and the growth, because there's always something surprising. There's always something surprising as they apply the principles or as they relate to different things in the stories that I tell. I love hearing about it. People help me as much as I help them. Like, we're all connected. So yeah, so please don't hesitate to connect with me. I love it.
We will also put the link to your book in the comments once we're done with this. So
Yeah.
you know, and for those of you, if you have, if any of your audience are Filipino nurses or overseas Filipino workers, I do have a book that I had mentioned earlier, and it's called Family Matters: Making the Right Financial Decision with Your Filipino Families, and you know, that's setting boundaries, forgiveness as well. And I will also put the link.
Yeah.
So you know,
I mean, it's all about dealing with those around you, isn't it? It's all about dealing with those closest to you, setting the boundaries and making yourself happy while not hurting people. I mean, that's what it's all about. You've written about it in your context. I've written about it in my context. We learn. We have very similar experiences with different costumes.
Yeah. And we can raise the vibration of the world so that it become a happier, healthier world. You know, we can make a difference to other people's lives too. So don't hide, you know, don't keep this free PDF copies that we will be providing you. Let your friends know, please.
Yeah.
You know, because really, you know, while we're still saying in the mood to give them for free, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Go get them. Yeah, go get them. Yeah. Yeah.
So what? Any other last minute message about romance? How about romance?
I know. I was trying to bring it in. Yes, on romance. I mean, I want women to know. I mean, you know, you can live free from the fear of a broken heart. Live fully and freely, free from the expectations and values of others. You can create your life as a romance novel, and I honestly do. People are always amazed. I honestly do now. I mean, you don't have to have the kind of romantic life that I have. Mine's very exciting. Movie stars and actors and traveling and all kinds of all different flavors of boyfriends. But other people that I coach have very different desires. You know, they want one guy who's just, you know, or improving their deepening their marriage or whatever it is. But you are responsible for your happiness. You can live without fear, and therefore make the beautiful, juicy, lovely romance of your dreams. So
that's right.
And that's what I want women to have. Come on. Let's do it.
We're born for. Well, thank you so much, Janet, Rhonda, Angela. Who else is here? I think Krista was here earlier. Kieran. Anyway, we're sending you love because this is about romance and forgiveness. We're gonna send you love, and usually I have my wine, but I ran out of my wine. So usually Shabbat Shalom. You know, so I'm just gonna toast it with you. I ran out of my wine or tea sometimes.
Okay.
So anyway, thank you so much for your time, Reverend Wild. I will put the link, as I said, for our audience and for other viewers later on. And have a great weekend.
You too. It's so lovely to talk to you.
Everyone, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.